Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a real-life marine mystery, and it actually starts with a suspicious text message that ends up uncovering a massive global takeover. I am so excited to guide you through this ecological detective story. We're going to look at how a highly prized seafood delicacy quietly transformed into an invasive species right under our noses, and how it's fundamentally altering the coastline of the northeastern United States. This whole thing kicks off kind of like a true crime thriller. Back in 2023, local Cape Cod clammers started whispering about catching these, quote, weird clams. For a while, it was just chatter on the docks. But that rumor finally caught fire when a college student texted a photo of a strange shell to a marine scientist in the summer of 2025. Literally, that single text message was the spark that ignited a massive, multi-agency scientific investigation. So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll look at the mystery of the weird clams. Second, we'll unmask the Manila clam. Third, we dive into the $7 billion industry behind it. Fourth, we'll weigh the ecological impacts. And finally, we'll see what happens next. All right, let's jump right into part one, the mystery of the weird clams, and how grassroots discovery got this all started. So back in 2023, a group led by the Center for Coastal Studies, including researcher Owen Nichols, started hearing reports from local clammers about weird clams showing up around Provincetown and the Cape. But the real breakthrough, that happened in the summer of 2025. Elfreniques Hartshorn, a recent undergrad from the University of Rhode Island, texted a photo of a highly suspicious clam to Allie Putnam, who's a marine scientist and postdoctoral researcher at UMass Amherst. Well, at that exact moment, Putnam was actually leading a mini workshop on Spectacle Island in Boston Harbor alongside Carolina Bastidas from MIT Sea Grant. They immediately started looking around the island and found these shells everywhere. When they dug deeper at other locations like Squantum and Quincy and Calfpasture Park in Boston, they found dozens of live juvenile clams. Meanwhile, down on the Cape, Nichols' team was finding female clams showing clear evidence of reproduction. Suddenly, these two parallel investigations merged into one undeniable truth. A brand new species had moved in. Which brings us to part two, unmasking the Manila clam and its total takeover of the Northern Hemisphere. Say hello to Ruditapes philippinarum, better known to most of us as the Manila clam. Originally, this species was native to the coastlines of Russia's Sakhalin Islands, Japan, and southern China. But this isn't just your average everyday clam, it's a famous global traveler. Since the early 20th century, it has been rapidly spreading across the globe, sometimes completely by accident and sometimes intentionally transported by humans. Now, get this. Because the sheer scale of this invasion is absolutely staggering. The waters off New England, the northwestern Atlantic coastline, that was literally the final holdout in the entire Northern Hemisphere before this recent discovery. As researcher Allie Putnam pointed out, considering these clams are literally everywhere else in the Northern Hemisphere, it was really only a matter of time before they showed up here. But it marks a monumental shift. The entire Northern Hemisphere has now been colonized by this single species. Let's move on to part three. A $7 billion industry, and what I like to call the culinary paradox. $7 billion. That is the annual global industry fueled by the Manila clam. You usually associate invasive species with pure devastation, right? You think of pests that destroy crops or decimate local wildlife. But the Manila clam represents a massive paradox. It's a highly prized seafood delicacy. People absolutely love to eat them, which obviously severely complicates how we view and ultimately manage their arrival in new waters. Because they are so delicious and so incredibly lucrative, human activity is the #1 driver of their global transport. Scientists have now confirmed, and published this in the journal Biological Invasions, that these clams have moved way past just being discarded shells from some seafood dinner. Boston Harbor and Cape Cod now host active, reproducing breeding colonies. Yet despite knowing that humans move them around, researchers still don't know exactly how they originally arrived in these specific New England waters. Were they dumped? Did they hitch a ride in a ship's ballast water? Honestly, it remains a total mystery. All right, part four, weighing the ecological impact. And as you'll see, it's a real double-edged sword. So this situation is wildly nuanced. On the negative side, when they form dense colonies, Manila clams can fundamentally alter surrounding ecological communities. They compete directly with native shellfish for resources, and they even hybridize with similar species, which can totally dilute native genetics. But on the positive side, and MIT Sea Grant's Carolina Bastidas points this out, they become a brand new food source. Local predators and even other invasive species like green crabs love to eat them. So by giving those hungry predators a new target, the Manila clam could actually relieve the predatory pressure on our native softshell clams, potentially saving them. It's like this wildly complex, giant puzzle of ecological interaction. James Carlton, an emeritus professor of marine sciences at Williams College, was actually the one who united these different research groups, and he calls this a golden opportunity. He's spot on, because it is incredibly rare for marine biologists to catch a detailed snapshot of the exact moment a new invasive species establishes itself. Usually, we only notice an invasion years after the ecosystem has already been permanently altered. But this time, we have a front row seat to real-time evolution and ecological change. So wrapping things up with part 5, what happens next, and tracking this invasion. Like Ali Putnam said, finding the species is literally only the beginning. Now, the real work starts. Scientists have to meticulously track the population distribution and monitor exactly how these clams interact with the New England coastal systems. Are they going to be a minor background player or a dominant force? To figure this out, an incredible all-hands-on-deck coalition is formed. We're talking experts from UMass Amherst, MIT Sea Grant, the Center for Coastal Studies, Northwestern University, and the Mass Office of Coastal Zone Management, all teaming up to safeguard our coastlines. I'll leave you with this final thought for our explainer today. When a species is worth $7 billion globally, human demand all but guarantees it's going to travel. So, can we ever truly balance our desire for ecological preservation with the unstoppable spread of these globalized commercial species? What does this massive invasion actually mean for the future of our local ecosystems? It's a huge question, and it's one we're all going to have to answer together in the years to come. Thank you so much for joining me to explore the fascinating mystery of the Manila clam. Stay curious out there and keep exploring.